Good evening, folks. Welcome. It is Wednesday, 8 p.m. here on @UP Fitness Live. It is that time again where we do a live Q&A, answer all of your questions, queries, blow through any smoke and mirrors in the industry, and try to be as honest with you as possible, whereas other people may not be. Just take a watch off there. We've got people coming in. Things that we have covered this week, which I'll go through initially. You may have caught up on our YouTube channel, both at UP Fitness Live and my own, that we are putting together a little travel series for you folks. One of the main queries that comes through from all of you is how to stay on track when you're away. Like if I look back over the last 10, 11 years, hi Praz, hello. If I look back over the last 10, 11 years, what is one of the more common excuses for people falling off their diet and not succeeding where probably they should be, just whip that off, is traveling. Now, everyone gives an excuse as to why they didn't do something while they're on holiday or why they didn't do something while they're on a business trip. Well, the reality of it is it really isn't that difficult with a little bit of forward planning or at least a very little bit of will. Now, I've been through before how to diet while you're traveling, how to make sure you're prepared, various tips and tricks. Go over to YouTube, check out the videos we're putting up there. And this week, I've spent all day today filming workouts, full body workouts, full body fat loss and hypertrophy workouts with just a barbell. Just a barbell. So if you're traveling, you travel a lot on business trips or with holidays, or you just like to travel around the world, but you want to stay in shape, keep your eyes open for them. Go over to the @UP Fitness Live channel where we are now and hit post notifications. Do the same thing on my profile @Elliot Upton and follow us both on YouTube and you will be the first to see them. I will also be doing a similar series with @JMasseyFit on just dumbbell training, nothing but dumbbells, and also one nothing but a cable machine. Reason being, because every gym I've ever been to, anywhere in the world, no matter how good or bad it is as a hotel gym, has one of those three pieces of equipment. It either has a barbell, or some dumbbells, or it has a cable machine. So I figure if I give you full body workouts that you can do wherever you are with just one of those pieces of equipment, your excuses from this point are null and void. So, right, we've got some stuff coming in. So we go. Prash, can you tell me if keto is good or not? Keto can be very, very useful for health reasons, helping with certain things. But from a body composition point of view, no, for various reasons. I'm going to really, really simplify it. Again, if you go to our YouTube channel, both the @UP Fitness Live YouTube channel and my own, you'll see a video I did in depth on keto there and my opinions on it when it comes to body composition. To summarize, number one, it teaches very, very bad habits. Number two, anything that restricts anything, in this case carbohydrates, is bad because you're not going to sustain it long term. And three, it's very, very, very hard indeed to actually get in ketosis and stay in ketosis. That's the summary of the video. It's not that useful for body composition, in my opinion. Right, people coming in. We're going to zoom down, see if any questions have come in. We've got a few of our own clients on there. Robbie, what's up? Anthony, hello. And you. Thumbs up. Favorite workout finishes. Dynamic PD. It depends on the workout, to be honest. My kind of favorite now is a bitch. One of my very, very good friends, a lot of you will know him, another UP trainer back in Mayfair from when I was back in Mayfair days, actually towards the start of my career with UP. Barry Pitts. When I used to train with him, he's a big lump, at least 30, 40 kilos heavier than me, absolute beast. We did me, him and Phil Lerney did a massive back workout, huge high volume back workout. Just as I thought we were walking off the gym floor, we've been on enough for about an hour, been at it hard, a couple of big lads. And then we're walking off the gym floor, Barry says, oh, actually, we're going to finish with max rep deadlifts. So load up as much as you can on the bar and then just rep it out. So for me, back workout, I love just going for an absolute beast on the deadlifts, just doing one set all out as much as I can without obviously breaking my back or suffering bad form. Same applies with a squats, finish a leg workout, get under a barbell, say body weight, so in my case about 100 kilos, just squat it as many times as you can to finish yourself off. It's a killer, but there's millions of different ways to do it. Isometrics are a really nice way to finish off a muscle, drop sets, things like that, so I have a play around. I can't say I have a particular favourite. A Widowmaker is always a good one. A Widowmaker is try to get to 100 reps as fast as you can. That's a nice, easy one to just say, go for that. Ramadan has begun. How can you still train whilst fasting? Hannah Hussain, if you actually go to our profile right now, both to Facebook, and I believe it's just gone up on Instagram as well. One of our brilliant trainers from London, Umar Malik, who is also going to be practicing Ramadan, has put up basically the UP guide to training during Ramadan. So pop over there, check that out. Anybody else who is going to have the same thing, if you're practicing Ramadan, it's time of year, for those of you who don't know, where they're going to be fasting basically for daylight hours, and it makes training and dieting very, very, very difficult indeed, but not impossible. So as always, we've tried to be a nice, thorough resource for you. We have put this information up for you, so go onto either the Facebook page or here on the Instagram page, hit the link in the bio, and you can go and find that article straight on the website. Got some coming in, swiping down. Spiritual Sculptures, hello. Lynette, hello. Finisher in regards to HIT, still do the same thing. Not sure I'd do a finisher with HIT, to be honest. Prowler, if you're going for that, if you have the equipment, Prowler. If you don't, I don't know, burpees till you throw up. It's kind of more CrossFit. It's maybe a CrossFit Q&A, that one. What's my thoughts on slow tempo lifting? I love it, Mark. Slow tempo is one of those things. Should it be constantly used at all times? No, I don't think it should. I think for various reasons, from a stimulation point of view, you should adapt, you should adjust. Sometimes you're going to want to move a little bit faster. If we're talking about the eccentric movements, it's a bit more exciting to move a little bit quicker, but you are going to get more metabolic damage. You are going to get more time under tension. You are potentially going to get more hypertrophy from slower eccentric reps. So realistically, although sometimes it may be a little less hardcore doing super slow reps, it's potentially going to be a lot better for you. So I do rate slow eccentric reps. With regards to slow concentric, again, another variable, but not something I do too often. Got to leave, boss, it's Prowler time. Damn right, it's Prowler time, Robbie. Good luck. If you don't throw up, you didn't go hard enough. Joined at a good time. Hey, Shazzy. I hope so. Shazzy will be fasting. Yeah, so pop over, see that article. Very, very useful article for any of you out there celebrating Ramadan or practicing Ramadan. So go check it out. Go check it out. Madam Eva, can I explain the difference between sets, droplets, I think you mean drop sets, and supersets? So a set is basically, say if we pick one exercise and you do X amount of repetition, so you repeat that exercise X amount of times, let's say 10 times, that would be one set. Okay, so a set is a single grouping of one exercise. A superset is doing two exercises back to back with no rest. So essentially two sets together without any rest in between. And a drop set, which will be a little bit more advanced, is basically, let's say we pick a squat, and I squat with 140 kilos, for instance. I do as many reps as I can with that, and I take 20 kilos off. Then I do as many reps as I can, take 20 kilos off. As many reps as I can, 20 kilos off, so on and so forth. Again, it's something with no rest. It's burning yourself out. It's a real good way of overloading the muscle. So that's the difference between a set. A single set is basically 10 reps, done, rest. Superset is a set of one exercise, let's say 10 reps, straight into a set of another exercise, let's say 10 reps, with zero rest. And a drop set is the same exercise, but as you start to fail on each set, you take some weight off so you can carry on. Elliot, I know you've said it before, but I couldn't find it. Where on the website can I find vitamins to take when training? Go to our supplements section, and the ones I recommend you take, if you're talking about all-round vitamins for health and well-being, is go to the Live UP Essentials. Type in the search bar on upfitness.com, Live UP Essentials, and the supplement stack that you will want in there. If you mean the supplement that you take whilst you are training, as in branched chain amino acids, if you go again to upfitness.com, go to the search bar and type in Amplify. Amplify. That is our powdered branched chain amino acid supplement, which you take during training. Dynamic, you're welcome. What's the best way to work out whilst fasting? It's going to be relatively dependent on each one of you and how long you've been fasting for, you know. If you're trying to train at the end of the day, right before you can eat, you're going to have to play it by ear somewhat. For me, if I'm recommending clients, I would suggest taking away volume. You don't want to be smashing tons and tons of volume, in my opinion. I would suggest going more towards the strength training side of things. So, like a good protocol from my point of view, something I would always favour with clients who are doing Ramadan is something like 5x5 or 5-3-1 or something slightly lower volume. That's not going to tax their muscular system quite so much, because obviously if you're training fasted, your cortisol levels are going to be high, you know, you may not be terribly focused, so you want to be keeping the volume relatively low, and just be careful, see how you feel with complex lifts, because again, your brain might not be firing on all cylinders. Depends on each person though. Blanks, hello. We've got people coming in. Karen, hi, Elliot. These finisher exercises. How and when should I be doing these? Thanks as always. If you're an advanced lifter, if you've got a good few years under your belt, you've got good joint integrity, you're confident that you can lift well and you execute the exercises with a very thorough thought process, you're deliberate, making sure your joints are safe, everything is done correctly, then you can start thinking about finishers. Now, when would you do them? Maybe shock yourself once a week, once every fortnight on a big muscle groups. If you want to do a leg finisher, like every fourth or fifth workout, go for a big leg finish, finish off on 100 reps of body weight, something like that, just to smash you. You can't be doing these sorts of things every single workout for most people because you can't recover. Most people are unable to recover from that intensity of training, that volume for training, because it does start to accumulate and it can cause you some problems. How to adapt your workout in Ramadan? I still do the same, but less weight, stress, so you're not feeling lightheaded. Shazzy, as I say, better to go and actually check this article, go and check it out, because we've outlined pretty much everything you need to do. The question I just answered on that one, Shazzy, was, for me personally, I actually suggest not dropping the weight, but dropping the volume, basically the number of reps you do. So if you're currently doing 12 to 15 reps at a particular weight, what I would suggest doing is dropping down to maybe 6 to 8 reps, a slightly heavier weight, less overall session volume, because then you're using less fuel, you're less likely to get lightheaded that way, but you're still going to get a good metabolic training effect. Andrea Edgar, keep hearing about all the weights, but is cardio not important for fitness and heart health? Andrea, yeah, of course, cardio is good for your health, it's good for your heart, going for a run, going for a jog, going for a nice fast walk, a cycle, a swim, whatever your cardio happens to be. But what we talk about predominantly, certainly here at UP Fitness, is how to optimize your health, how to be as healthy as possible whilst getting yourself in the absolute best shape you possibly can. Now, yes, cardio does have a place in that, but cardio, if done in the volumes that it is done by the masses, it tends to break down the body more than it builds it up. And this is a real problem because it will start to slow your thyroid down. It will cause excessive inflammation. It will start to cause unfavorable hormonal environments for immunity and growth and cell regeneration. So doing too much cardio can be very, very detrimental. Now, with that in mind, what you want to do, if you want to look as good as possible, feel as good as possible, and be as optimally healthy as possible, is to always prioritize weight training. Cardio should be one of those things that, maybe once or twice a week you do to maintain health, to get out on the beach, go for a jog. It's getting something into your brain. Again, I defy anyone out there, anyone on his chat who has trained with a UP trainer, tell me it's not cardio. If anyone could come in and say, I didn't get trained hard enough, it wasn't cardio. Trust me, our weight training sessions, when you're doing weights correctly, it is cardio. If a gym doesn't have a prowler, what's an alternative? And again, this is one I've answered many, many times, madam. You've obviously missed it. And it's also on my profile. Get on the treadmill, put it up to maximum incline, unplug the treadmill, and then run on it as hard as you can whilst leaning against the handles. It will basically mimic a prowler push. It's called a dead mill sprint. Cam, if you go into a steep deficit for 5 days, you'd lose muscle. It's 800 calories. Following this back to normal maintenance for a week, would fat loss work? Or if you're going, Cam, I think you asked me basically the same question last week, and I said it was an all right idea, but going down to 800 calories, unless you're a 16-kilo girl, that's going to lose you a lot of muscle. You're not maintaining muscle on that amount of calories. That's going to send your stress hormones through the roof. Steph, hi Elliot, I'm trying to reduce my body fat but struggling to find good snack options. Can you recommend any, or best to eat smaller meals throughout the day? For me, Steph, I'd eat smaller meals throughout the day. It's the way forward for me. Someone asked me this the other day, said, what kind of things do you snack on? And I was like, do you know what? I don't snack. I just eat, anywhere between, dependent on the day, dependent on my time. Today has gotten away with me completely, and I've only managed to get in 3 meals. I'll be doing lots of filming this afternoon and this morning. But on the whole, I'll eat anywhere between 4 and 7 meals, but they're meals, small meals. I don't really snack on anything. Your snack should essentially fill the gaps in your food. So, if you're eating 3 or 4 solid protein meals per day, chances are you're going to be moderate carb, moderate fat. So, some nuts and some fruit, things like that would be a good addition. But again, you have to be accountable for it, and you have to understand you can't just nonchalantly eat. Snacks are a really, really good way of overeating because you forget about them. It's like sodas and drinks and coffees and teas, is that we drink them, but we don't really we don't consciously measure them as calories, which is a real problem, because by the end of the week, you know, a coffee a day, whatever, a latte a day, it's like, well, what's a latte? 200 calories, something like that. You may think, oh, but it's only 200 calories, I'll just not have it later in something else. Problem is, when you've had that 7 times over a week, and quite often people who drink coffees are drinking 3 or 4 a day, you know, we're talking anywhere between 1,400 calories and 5,000 calories a week in coffee, in something you don't even count as a calorie. So snacking's a bit of a dangerous one. I would suggest, if you genuinely want to be lean, try to stick to meals. Just have small and frequent meals. You're welcome, Shazzy. Erzman, hello, hello, hello. I get shin splints whilst running, which is the best stretch to do before and after the exercise. First of all, it's not so much stretching that's going to do you much good. You're going to want to roll out your calves and actually potentially roll out your shins as well. So get a little tennis ball, something like that. Try and get a little tennis out your calves. Things I would suggest is, number one, stop running. Stop running, certainly until it's stopped, because it will just get worse. Secondly, if you must run on sand or run on a treadmill with very, very, very good trainers. If you're doing that, then get some compression socks, some compression tights for your shins that squeeze it in very, very well and keep heat in there. But my advice is to stop running until they're fixed. Are supersets better if you're trying to cut and get leaner? Obviously, because you can't lift as heavy with supersets, it feels like you're not stressing the muscle as much. Miss Morris, the optimal way to lose body fat is supersets, but it's not to superset the same muscle. Okay, so you may have heard of, if you're a trainer, if you've been lifting for a while, you may have heard of something called peripheral heart action, or PHA style training, which is basically shunting blood around. It's called vascular shunting as well, some people call it. It's basically training opposing muscles, agonist, antagonist muscles, to push blood backwards and forwards or up and down. So for instance, a really good way of looking at that is we do a set of squats immediately into a set of pull-ups. Then a set of squats, set of pull-ups. It's still a superset, but while one muscle is resting, the other one is working. Okay, so this is regathering its fuel, the other one is working its tits off. So this is an unbelievably effective way to lose fat really, really fast by supersetting, but you don't necessarily have to superset the same muscles. If fat loss is your goal, there's not really much reason to superset the same muscles. Hi bro, I love your personality. Thanks, Mr. Frankies. RE Nutrition, are all carbs created equal? Nope. If your macros for the day are 100 grams of carbs, is there any difference if you got it from clean carbs, rice, or bad carbs? Yes, Seth, to put it very, very simply, nutrients. Carbs are not created equal. Yes, the quantity of carbs may indeed be equal, but the quantity of nutrients in whatever source you have chosen is not. If you are malnourished, you are not going to lose fat. You're certainly not going to be healthy. Whereas if you are nourished and taking the same amount of carbs, there's a damn good chance that you are going to be extremely healthy. You are going to be nourished. Your body is going to be willing to drop fat. Okay, there's a huge, huge difference. This is why the IIFL, FYM, if it fits your macro stuff, in my honest opinion, is all utter bollocks. I think it was me who asked you the last time about snacks. Possibly, DP. You're welcome, Steph. When doing shoulder upper body workout, I hear a lot about mobility exercises, warming up rotator cuff. Can you show me what exercise to do for this? Potentially, yes, Shazzy, but that's another video. I can't really grab a piece of equipment here. I'd have to run off and grab some bits. But yes, send a direct message and we'll get a video filmed for that. Not a problem at all. In a previous Insta Live, you said to train legs twice a week and spread across a week. Training at the peak time for the muscle group. If DOMs last a few days, is it too soon to train? Depends how bad it is, Kat. If it's absolutely crippling and you're really, really struggling, then you may want to extend that rest period day to allow a little bit more recovery. You know, you may not recover as fast as somebody else. But if it's just that, you know, you can just about feel it, it's still a residual bit of DOMs, then you can probably get away with training it again. You know, if it's still crippling pain, then you may want to extend that period between sessions. Laura Jones, what does UP's pea protein taste like? What's the difference between the men's and women's versions? The UP pea protein, there's literally almost no difference between the men and women's versions, apart from, I believe there's a little bit more fibre in the females. I'll have to look into that one for you. But the pea protein, unfortunately, pea protein is one of those things. On the whole, it tastes like turd. It tastes like puddle water mixed with chalk. Ours, luckily, doesn't taste that bad at all. In fact, it tastes bloody good. I've got a bag of it through there, which I use daily. It's the only pea protein I can tolerate. The only other one was Sun Warrior or something like that, which was quite nice. And ours tastes a little bit better than that, so I've now favoured ours over that. The difference being that it's not necessarily just about taste. What you've got to remember with the supplements industry in general is that People choose whey over pea because whey tastes better. Then people will choose a particular brand of whey over this brand of whey because that one tastes better. But what you've got to wonder is what is in it. If you look at the ingredients list on a lot of these supplements, they're full of artificial sweeteners and fillers and preservatives and all of these things that are in there to pack it out and make sure it lasts while it's on your shelf. Now, our pea protein is not full of that. It has digestive enzymes in it to help you break things down. It has extra nutrients in it. It's got glutamine in it. It's got all of the things you need to get in shape really, really fast and stay healthy. So in the simple answer to your question, our pea protein tastes better than any on the market, in my opinion. But of course, that is always subjective. It's down to you, your particular taste buds. I would advise, if you struggle with pea protein in general, is to get a scoop of Chocotrients, our fiber powder. Pop that in there because that's so rich. It makes anything taste like hot cocoa. It's amazing. So get our pea protein, buy a tub of our greens powder, Chocotrients, put a scoop of that in there. It's epic. Winner. Thoughts on lower trap exercises besides trap 3 raises? Use them. Again, I'm saying that actually. Listen, one of the more important things for me, everyone focuses massively on lower trap work, which yes, it absolutely has to be done. But what everyone neglects when they're trying to focus on the lower trap work is loosening off the pecs and the shoulders and the biceps. Okay? It's useful to do lower trap work, and something like a Y raise is extremely useful. Very, very useful exercise. One of the best exercises for it, whether you want to do it with a single dumbbell. If you're really, really strong, you can do it with a barbell. But there are very, very many ways of stimulating it. Y raise is just one of them. But the focus from almost all of you should be more on stretching out the anterior portion of the body, more on stretching out the chest, more on stretching out pec minor underneath the pec, getting the bicep and forearm opened up to allow you to sit back properly. That's probably where I would put most of the focus, because the whole idea behind a Y raise is stabilising the shoulder blades. But unfortunately, because our shoulder blades are pulled forward so badly, that doesn't really happen. Hi, will omega-3 oils help you burn fat? If so, how much for 19 stone bloke? Gus, there's a lot of stuff. Yes, they will. They bring down inflammation massively. They can help various neurotransmitters, and they will help your body use other nutrients. How much? It's difficult to say, because there's a big school of thought out there that says you should take at least 1 gram per % of body fat. Now, if you're 19 stone, what's that? Going to be 120 odd kilos, something like that. Unless you're absolutely jacked, I would probably estimate somewhere between 25 and 30% body fat, let's say. If that is indeed the case, then that would mean you had to take 30 grams of fish oils per day. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, because every person you know would leave you. Unless it's lemon flavoured, of course. But I would say for most people, all of my clients in the past, I range between 5 and 10 grams per day. 5 as a minimum, 10 as a maximum. I think that's enough for anyone. They're phenomenal for bringing down inflammation and helping your brain a lot as well. If you struggle with motivation or depression, things like that, omega-3 fish oils can be really, really useful, so don't underestimate their uses there. But yeah, about 10 grams a day I think would be more than enough for someone your size. Would you say a HIIT workout is still a HIIT workout if it's longer than 20 seconds? The actual working period, if it's longer than 20 seconds, absolutely, if you can keep absolute 100% intensity for those 20 seconds. Now, this is what most people miss on high intensity interval training. The idea behind high intensity interval training is that the intervals are high intensity, maximum intensity. You should be going to the point where you think you're going to die. Okay. The problem is, what most people do when they're doing high intensity training is they go for 20 seconds and then they rest and they're barely out of breath. They wonder why it doesn't work. So high intensity, yes, 20 seconds should probably be about the maximum, because if you are genuinely, really honestly, genuinely going as hard as you can on the correctly selected exercise, you're probably not going to be able to do much more than that. Okay? Now, again, if you're selecting the wrong exercises, if you're skipping for 20 seconds, that's not high intensity interval training, because you've chosen an exercise that's too easy. Whereas if you're sprinting as hard as you can up the steepest hill you can find, chances are you're not lasting much more than 10, 12 seconds. That's high intensity interval training. Is doing HIIT more than 3 times a week ultimately dangerous for you? Potentially, Tash, yes. the thing with HRT is, from a hormonal point of view, it drives your stress hormones through the roof. You also got to look at the nature of the exercises, often very, very high impact, which can cause many, many problems with your feet, your ankles, your knees, your hips, etc., all the way up the chain, wrists. Now, that in itself is one risk. The hormonal implications are a second risk, and recovery implications, and also the fact that 99%, do you know what, I'm going to go so far as to say every high-intensity interval training workout I've ever seen, especially the ones out in the media, this is not something anybody has thought about. This is not something anybody has programmed. There is no balance to these programs. That no one has thought about, well, but what if I do this? What could happen 3 weeks down the line? Could they get an injury because this is imbalanced? So HIIT needs to be, it can be incredibly effective and used brilliantly in weight training programs, body composition programs, in general, health programs and rehabilitation programs. However, it needs to be used intelligently, which in my opinion, it is not. Where you have multiple meals instead of snacks, what's a typical day of food look like? Thank you for your previous advice on dark chocolate at a time of the month. It's a really good tip. I'm glad it helped, Christine. So to give you an idea of my day, on the whole, in the morning, first thing, I will usually have either 200 grams of red meat, like it would be, for me, it'd be like a minced beef, something, a bolognese or a chili that I cooked up the night before. I cooked there first thing in the morning. Or it's going to be a 3-egg omelette with a little bit of ham, some mushrooms, a little bit of ham, some onions, and a little bit of sun-dried tomato, because I love it, it's my favourite. Next meal would usually be pre-workout, an hour or two later, which is going to be 200 grams of broccoli probably, and again red meat. I would go for steak or some more minced beef. And then after that would be my training. Then I would have my post-workout shake, which may have some oats in it. Next meal is going to be salmon, something like that, salmon and vegetables with possibly some rice or potatoes. Next meal after that, next 2 meals potentially, are going to be chicken with vegetables, chicken with vegetables. That's me done. That's about my day. And I always do my best when I can remember. Plenty of water. Yeah, the pea protein, I say, considering what's on the market, our pea protein is absolutely exceptional. Exceptional. So, yeah, do go for that. Heavy weight and low reps, or less weight to make 4 reps. Tic Tac Vic, the way to look at it, what I tend not to do with any of my clients, past or present, is stick to a specific rep range if I can. What I say is this is what you're aiming for, okay? So if I say, let's say a range of 8 to 12, would be a good way to do it. If you can get 8 for all of the sets, then you need to move up a weight, okay? Then you may have 2 or 3 weeks where you get an 8 on the first set, you get a 7 on the next set, and a 5 on the next 2 sets. That way you stay at that weight until you're getting 8, 8, 8, 8, okay? So if you're getting all of your sets, all of the time, chances are you're not going heavy enough. So keep the weight high until you've made all the reps of all sets. Welcome, Kath. Welcome, Laura. What BCAs do you use? Laura, for me, I use our own Amplify. I've currently got the pineapple one, I believe, at the gym. So I use that. You can go to upfitness.com, go into the supplements section, or go to the search bar up in the top and search Amplify in there. Where's the best place to get compression socks? Like on High Street or is it online? For me, easiest place is Amazon. You could go to a sports store. You can find, if there's a sports store near you, like a Soccer Sports, depending on where you are, you'll find one there. But I'll just go to Amazon's easiest place. Kath, because I do ice skating and my hockey and I want to do ice hockey again. Yeah, Kath, before you start taking anything like that, I would get them fixed though, because shin splints can become a real bugger if you don't get them fixed. Advice to your younger self in the 20s. Meet Nick Mitchell earlier, basically. And understand patience is a real thing. I'm a very impatient man, which I think sometimes has been to my detriment. So I would say be patient, and you're still really, really young, and try to meet Nick Mitchell earlier. Roughly, how many calories would you suggest for a 71 kilogram male to lose belly fat and gain muscle? What you're asking there for, Lee Allison, is personal training. So I'm going to say anywhere between 2,000 and 3,000. So true. I'm glad I asked the question. Got some animation too. Of course, I'm always animated, me. Always having a bit of a laugh. Got to keep myself entertained. It's been a super long day, and I'll be honest, I slept absolutely terribly the last 3 or 4 nights. Last night especially, me and Jane went down to Film loads of videos for you guys today on traveling, how to travel and how to train while you travel. I'm absolutely exhausted. My brain is shutting down. So the only way I can keep my energy is by doing this all the time. What's the best post-workout snack? I usually work out at night, so you never know what to eat before bed. I would have a bowl of oats with your whey protein. That would be my suggestion. Carbs are going to help you sleep potentially as they slow you down towards evening. And obviously the whey protein or pea protein that you take in is going to be rapidly absorbed into your body to kickstart the muscular repair process. So it's probably better to do a Tabata circuit instead of HIIT. Tasha, blah, blah, blah. Sounds like you only eat grains or starches post-workout. Yes, I do. Listen, to give you an idea on that dynamic, the reason being, so my history, some of you may know, some of you may not, I was extremely fat my whole life. Big fat. I was about 120 kilos by the time I was 15 years old. So I was a big old lump. Not that tall either. So when I lost weight, I went from, a ridiculous amount, I don't even know what weight when I stopped, down to about 69 kilos. I'm now sitting at about 100, relatively lean, and carrying a good amount of muscle. But my body does not tolerate carbohydrates well at all. So for me, the only time I can really have them is post-workout and potentially before bed if I'm sleeping badly. Pre-workout drink. If I'm having anything, it'll be a coffee. What I try to look at, Sullington, is that if I need a pre-workout drink, I'm probably training too much or I'm not recovering well enough. I've become, the older I'm getting, the more I'm realizing that I really need to monitor how much I train, because even with the best will in the world, if it's wiping me out and I'm becoming unproductive with work, I have, an awful lot of stuff to do. A lot of my day is very spread. I'm monitoring the forums, and it's a full-time job, 24/7 job, monitoring the live UP forums, and it tires me out. And if my brain isn't right because I've overtrained or anything like that, then it has a knock-on effect to me, to the business, to Nick, to everybody. I obviously want to do my best job for everyone. So I regulate my training more than taking in pre-workouts. If anything, it would be a coffee, but I haven't taken a pre-workout, even a coffee, for a long time. So you typically eat a lower carb diet besides post-workout. For me, Billy, yeah, lower carbs, moderate to high fat, and high protein. But at the same time, relatively regular refeeds work for me. So, we're talking every 4 or 5 days. I'll have a higher carb day where I take out all of my fats, take out a good portion of protein, and shovel in a load of carbs. Laura Jones, you're welcome. What are your views on intermittent fasting? Again, intermittent fasting is one of those things that is useful for about 50% of the population, completely useless for most females. When it comes to body composition, let me qualify that a little bit narrower. When it comes to body composition, intermittent fasting for me is not the one. It's almost useless and, if anything, detrimental to women. And it's only useful for about 50% of men. What I would suggest to most of you out there is girls don't try it at all. It's not necessarily going to be the best thing for you hormonally. You may risk losing your period. You may risk some various issues with your monthly cycle. Your body needs calories. It needs regular food. It works better that way. Guys, you can try intermittent fasting if you have loads of muscle that you're willing to lose. This is what I would say. Just in my opinion, this is my experience of it. The people that tend to advocate it and say, oh, it's amazing, it's this, they're part of that 50% that it worked for. It's simple as that. You mentioned before that too much cardio can have detrimental effect to conditioning. Do you have any advice for a triathlete looking to drop fat and improve body composition? Not necessarily conditioning. Obviously, you're going to lose a lot of muscle. Therefore, you're going to be weaker if you do too much of it. If the balance is wrong. It's not about doing too much of one or the other, but if the balance is wrong, if you're doing loads and loads of cardio, but one weight training session a week, what you are teaching your body is to be as light as possible and as efficient as possible. Now, it's going to try and burn through some fat, but it's also going to try and burn through as much muscle as it can afford to burn through. What strength training does is strength training creates a demand. It's all about supply and demand. Strength training creates a demand for your body to maintain muscle mass or even build muscle mass because it wants to be strong. It's being overloaded on a regular basis. Now, what you need to do as a triathlete is meet somewhere in the middle, because you want the endurance and you want to be an efficient body weight, but in order to maintain a good level of endurance in all of your sports, you also have to be strong. Now, a lot of endurance athletes don't consider this. The reality of it is, all endurance is being strong enough to hold a particular position for longer. Now, if I get a powerlifter, a strongman, let's say Eddie Hall, and I ask Eddie Hall to hold 2 buckets of water out beside his body like that, he's going to hold them a damn sight longer than a marathon runner, Okay, the marathon runner probably won't even get them up. Yeah, of course, people are going to say Eddie Hall's stronger, so of course he can hold them longer. Yes, exactly. It's logical, right? So as a triathlete, you should be strength training as much as you can afford to without gaining weight. Therefore, you are going to be stronger and you're going to be able to hold a particular position for longer. You're going to be better on your run. You're going to have more endurance on your swim. You're going to be better on your cycle. Any books, podcasts, or anything that you recommend to someone in their early 20s? Dynamic, anything that interests you? For me, listen, I read a load of books, but I read the things that I feel make me better. I can't read story books because I don't feel like I get anything from them. And I'm not a good reader. Like, don't get me wrong, I can read absolutely perfectly, but my attention span, it drifts very, very easily when I look at a page. So I have to read every single book, every page of every book, 10 times over before I can move on to the next page, which makes reading a bit of a ball ache. And the difference being, if you find the stuff that you really love and that really interests you, you really want to learn about, then you will and you'll enjoy those books. You don't want to start being forced into something because you think you need to and then resenting it. So what I would say is pick the subjects that you like, pick the fields within that you like. You know, for me, podcasts that I listen to are going to be Joe Rogan, because he's funny. I listen to the Precision Nutrition podcast. Very, very good. I listen to a lot of entrepreneurs. I read a lot of books by Richard Branson, Warren Buffett, Tony Robbins, stuff like that, because it puts my brain in the right place. And I have a lot of interest in how these people think, you know, where they came from, what they achieved. So that's what interests me and it's what engages me. So that's the key. Do what you love. Listen to what you love, read what you love, and make it your own. Nice water bottle. Where did I get that from? I got this from the supermarket yesterday. They come in packs of 6, these things. I think it's the lowest sodium water you can get in Spain, this. So, and obviously that's where I am right now. One more question. How many days a week do you recommend weight training for gaining muscle? Billy, it depends on your recovery factors. If you recover really, really well, you can probably get away with 4, maybe an absolute push 5 if your programming is perfect. But I would suggest for 90% of the population who are training naturally and probably don't have the perfect diet, probably don't have the best genetics, 3 to 4 times a week as a maximum. Because remember, yes, of course, the sense of it is that you train, you get bigger. That's not when you're getting bigger. You're getting bigger when you're sleeping. You're getting bigger when you're sitting on the sofa. You're getting bigger when you're eating. The training is just creating a reason to get bigger. That's it. What's the difference between being a personal trainer at UP Fitness? If someone has no experience but has just qualified, is it worth applying? Shazzy, yes, of course. I mean, the thing is with UP is you come on, we have juniors at UP that are relatively newly qualified, but they show more promise than, you know, many coaches, many people who've been qualified for 10, 15 years. And we have people who are doing the junior scheme at UP who are in their 40s, you know, mid to late 40s. What we can teach a junior PT everything they need to know. Our education system is, you know, it's relatively brutal, but it's the most thorough education system on the planet for fitness professionals. Now, they're going to go through this for up to 2 years. They're going to be, every dot needs to be I'd, every T needs to be crossed. They have somebody, a senior trainer, a manager, breathing down the neck all of the time, checking every decision they make with every client. Now, what this does, it breeds a very, very, very high standard of trainers within UP. But we know we can do that with anybody. What we care about when somebody starts at UP, when we're employing someone, when we're interviewing someone, is who they are. Are they going to fit into the family? Are they going to be the person that represents UP and Nick to the clients? You know, the clients come to us, they pay a lot of money, they want results, they want the right person on the other end of that phone, or they want the right person on the end of an email, or, you know, supporting them in the gym. So it's more about who someone is as to how much experience they've got, because we can give them the experience. You know, it's often said that a UP trainer 3 months into our UP junior scheme is going to know more than most trainers that have been in the business a decade. So, makes a lot of sense. You're welcome, Sent. Yo, Timmy, what's up? Billy, no problem. Shazzy, you're welcome. Got a relatively quiet one tonight. Is everyone out watching the Europa Cup or whatever it is? Saw it advertised today. I thought maybe it's going to be quiet. I hope my Wi-Fi's going today. We had a bit of problem in here the other day. Will this Q&A be available to view later? Yeah, in a couple of days, I've got a huge list of stuff that I'm trying to edit to get up on YouTube. But this live Q&A, I will try. I promise you, I will try my best to get it edited in the next day or two. and it will be up on the @UP Fitness Live YouTube channel and my own YouTube channel, kind of a spin-off UP Fitness YouTube channel, which is just Elliot Upton. So you can go over there, subscribe to both channels, and the videos will, of course, go up there, yes. As have all the past ones. So if you've missed any, they are up there ready for you to go. And please make sure you're sharing them. You know, there's a lot of people out there in the fitness industry who are being misled. It's part of the reason we do these live Q&As is to try and stop that from happening. So make sure you're on your Facebook, you're sharing them to your Facebook, you're sharing them to your Instagram, you're sharing them to your stories. Get other people watching so we can try and help out. The more information, the more questions you give me, the more information we can feed you back. Obviously, because these live feeds help me to figure out what you need. It's a direct connection between you and us, and I can figure out what you need to know that you don't necessarily already. Lean with Luke. Been a while. It has been a while, actually, Lean with Luke. It certainly has. Using your tips in the book and implementing in sessions. Good. How's it gone? Nick Hubbs, what are your thoughts on German volume training? I absolutely love German volume training. For me, it's the #1 muscle and size program on the planet anywhere. It's just perfect. The one thing I will say that I think everybody neglects on German volume training is recovery and understanding that you're going to need massages, you need a lot of stretching, soft tissue work, because it can be quite aggressive. For anyone who doesn't know what German volume training is, very, very easy to Google, but it's basically 10 sets of 10. Okay, pick an exercise, 10 sets of 10. I'm going to go now, but thank you for sharing your knowledge. You're welcome, Shazzy. I'm here every single week, 8 p.m. UK time. How much green veg can be too much? Liam, depends on your digestive tract. It depends on your digestive health. Some people, you get a lot of trainers, you know, gurus, this, that, and the other, whatever, say, oh, you can eat unlimited greens. You can't eat unlimited greens. Yes, of course, if you're really struggling on a diet, greens are probably your best bet. But if you're eating too many, then the fiber may start to cause problems with your digestive system. There is too much of a good thing going on there. So what would I suggest? For most people, for most men and women who are having between 3 and 5 meals per day, make sure that half of your plate is full of greens. Half of your plate is covered in greens. That's a good rule of thumb. Thermoball and grenades. Before I even read the rest of that, I'm going to say no, don't do it. Let's see what the rest of it is. Best to avoid, so start my PT sessions. Good, yeah, you've tried to avoid them. You've got some brains, you've got some intelligence. These thermogenics are going to do you more harm than good. It's the same with most stimulants. You know, if you're finding you're constantly needing coffee, or you're needing Red Bulls, or you're needing this, that, and other, this is your body. If you're exhausted, your body is trying to tell you something. It's trying to give you a message and say, listen, I'm overworked, I need to rest more, I'm not recovering, whatever it is. If you start trying to use all these things to burn some fat faster, or do all these things, you're putting your body in a place it does not want to be. So please, 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 stay away from them. Stay away from them. The best fat burner is a good diet. What do you suggest athletes to eat before training? Depends on the athlete. You know, you can get away with some, for most people, fats are going to be your quickest source of energy. But if you're an athlete, you're probably very, very lean, very, very big. I would suggest making sure you're taking in a good few portions of carbs earlier on in the day, depending on what time you're playing. But fats are usually your best source of immediate energy. So something like MCT oils in a coffee, something like that. Is German body composition the same as PHA? Kind of, yeah. It's a hybrid of the two. PHA specifically doesn't necessarily say up and down, up and down. PHA just says it can either be front, back, or up and down, up and down. German body composition is up and down, but it's using the principle of PHA. Hi, you are amazing. Well, thank you, PSG Fit. What would you focus first on a guy who carries the most extra weight in his legs and bum? If you have female pattern fat deposits like that, hips and bum, there's a good chance that you have estrogenic dominance. Do you have, are you carrying a bit of excessive weight around your chest area as well? If so, then your main priority is going to be to look at your diet and take out any toxins, anything that is that you think may be chemically enriched. So, stop putting in processed foods, monitor your alcohol intake, things like that. And eat loads and loads and loads and loads of greens. Greens and lots of fluids, lots of water is going to help your body to cleanse itself of harmful estrogens, which could be promoting fat storage in certain points. So that would be my main advice. Also, get onto upfitness.com, go up to the search bar and type in Estro Support, ESTRO Support. It's a supplement with DIM, calcium D-glucarate, and a few other bits in it, which are going to help your body and your liver to detoxify these harmful toxins in your body. if you're having, and rebalance estrogens, if you have sort of more female pattern fat deposits, such as hips, bum, thighs, etc., then there's a relatively safe bet that that may be the reason why. If you don't like veg, any other ideas? If you don't like veg, you're going to die early. Clients are doing very well and has made my process more simple yet effective too. Good, Lean. That's the key, right? You know, what you have to consider as a personal trainer is the easier your job is and the easier your client's job is, the better their results and experience is going to be with you, the more clients they refer to you, but the easier your job is, the more clients you can take on, right? It's efficiency in all points. You need to look after your clients whilst making sure your systems are efficient. They will look after you. It's all a good circle. So I'm glad we could have been of some help. Loving your live chats every week. I've started weight training with a PT, doing HRT class once a week. Aches, muscles is new. What would you recommend to help recovery? First things first is make sure you're drinking again. No coincidence. The elixir of life, water. Drink tons and tons of water and try to keep moving. Don't sit on your ass too much. Secondly, hot baths with Epsom salts. Get some magnesium salts. You can pick them up at Boots or a health food store, even off Amazon. They'll deliver a bucket full to you. Epsom salts in a bath that will really, really help sort yourself out. And massages. Don't neglect massages. Of course, everybody says, oh, but they're expensive, they're this, that, and the other. Listen, getting a regular massage can help you no end, and it is going to speed up the improvements in your body composition because you're going to be able to train harder, you're going to be more motivated, less inflamed, less stressed. All of these things are going to help you to lose fat and build muscle faster, so get massages as well. Shelley Hardman, you're welcome. Had a blood test with Medichecks, low T3. Any tips? When you say low T3, it's not quite as simple as that. If you're low T3, you need to look at your TSH levels, your reverse T3. You need to find out why it's low. Having low T3 is one thing. You need to figure out why or what, because there could be a few reasons for that. I've been slacking due to moving house. Now have 4 weeks till our holiday. Tips for getting the best results possible in that time. Becky Lou, sign up for UP 4-week online personal training. Best thing you could do, inevitably. If not, dial in your diet really damn fast. Weight train 3 to 4 times a week and do some daily walks in the morning. The estro advice, does that apply for women too? Absolutely, 100%. If you follow us here, you follow me here, or you follow me on my profile, every day, at some point, I'm bleating on about women and how you girls need to take care of your estrogen levels. We've talked a lot recently about menstruation and the menopause as well. All of these things apply to you, absolutely. So estro support, get on over there. And again, high greens intake, lots of water. I just bought the Nick Mitchell 12-week plan. Currently an injured knee, so not able to do much on the legs other than rehab. Would you treat those as leg day, strengthening work, or just not too heavy, or as dad a day? Hard for me to say. Adapt it to what you're able to do safely. This is the key. Don't injure yourself. Don't do anything silly, because ultimately if you injure yourself long term without rehabbing properly, it's going to take you longer to get in shape. Do the upper body days with full intensity and the upper body exercises with full intensity, and do only what you feel you can. It's hard for me to judge without seeing you, but you will know what is a good pain and what is a bad pain. So just bear that in mind. Thanks. Just again, are you on every day? PSG Fit, I'm not on every day, not on this profile. There's lots of other things going on this profile, but I do come on most days on my own profile at Elliot Upton. But I'm here every single Wednesday when we have this little window in the live feeds. I am here every single Wednesday at 8 p.m. UK time, no matter where I am in the world. If I have to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll be up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I have to be at 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever. I'm always here. So yes, 8 p.m. UK time here every single Wednesday. Other days I'm randomly on and off, most days on my own channel, my own Instagram channel at Elliot Upton. And again, there's a lot of resources on our YouTube channels, both the UP Fitness Live YouTube channel. So go over there and subscribe, and my own YouTube channel, which is just Elliot Upton. Go on there, you can find it. There's loads of links to it in my own profile. And all of these are fed into there, and you can watch them again and again and again. Can you take BCAAs and estro support? You sure can, madam. It's not a problem at all. You won't explode. Becky Lou, you're welcome. Welly Wombles, fab, thanks. I'm in a hot bath with muscle soak now. We'll get a massage booked in, definitely need to up my water take. Listen, what you got to remember is all the toxins and all the things that are causing that pain, your muscles need to be hydrated. The way to think about it, if your muscles aren't hydrated, think about a rubber band, okay? Because essentially that's what your muscles are, right? If you leave a rubber band out in the sun, when it gets all dried and cracked and shitty and horrible, it's been out there for 6 months. You pull it and you just see it crack, it bursts apart. Okay, that is essentially a dehydrated muscle. Okay, it's very, very easily damaged if it's not hydrated. Whereas if you've kept that rubber band where it needs to be, it's not been out in dry heat, the rubber hasn't dried out, it's well hydrated, you can all day long and nothing's going to happen to it. Same applies to a hydrated muscle. It sounds like a bit of a weird analogy, but if you keep your muscles hydrated, you keep your tissues hydrated. The same applies with your skin, your hair, your nails, whatever. When you are hydrated, everything works better, looks infinitely better, and is far less likely to get sustained damage. Loves fashion. I've started drinking protein shakes after weight sessions. Seem to make me super hungry. Is this normal? Potentially, yes, because it's kickstarting the recovery process. Now, what you've got to remember about protein shakes is they're engineered. This is why they're not good to be taken in at other times of day. They're engineered to be rapidly absorbed, to kickstart protein turnover. And by that, I mean they're helping your body to repair what is needed. Now, that's going to send a message to your gut, basically, to say, okay, we've got something going on here. We're metabolizing stuff. There's activity. Therefore, your gut then sends a signal to your brain and says, right, it's time to eat. We're repairing something. We have shit going on. So then your brain signals you to eat. This is why you say, after you train, have your protein shake, okay, because that's going to kickstart the recovery process, and then have a meal within about an hour of that, a carb and protein-rich meal. Should you use BCA if the diet is good? Arman, for me, I see absolutely no reason why not to. There is never a real good reason to not have a little bit of extra high quality protein in your diet. So BCAs for me, yes, I would still say have them. I actually recommend them for all of my clients whenever they're doing any kind of cardio, i.e. if I get them to go up and go for a walk before breakfast, they have BCAAs, so it's not truly fasted. I get them to have it during their interval sessions, and I get them to have it during their workout sessions, their weight workout sessions. Very, very, very useful. So there's absolutely no reason why you wouldn't. Love these live videos, Elliot. So informative and really helpful. Thank you very much, Miss Morris. Thank you for coming. All of you, actually, not just to Miss Morris. We always appreciate your support. And as I say, the more information you can ask of us, the more questions you ask, no matter what it is, the more information we can give back to you, which is obviously the key. We're trying to make sure the whole industry kind of follows suit and stops lying to you, because a lot of people do. So the more questions, the more of you on it, the more friends you get coming along, the better. What's the best ingredients to add to fresh water? For me, I add fresh lime juice. I've got a little electric juicer now. Just dump a lime in it, cut it in half, dump a lime in it, on both of them, and pour that into my water, especially sparkling water, because sparkling water helps me to kill my appetite really, really fast. So I love that. So lots of fresh lime juice poured into sparkling water. Jen, what BCA would you recommend? Our very own BCA, which is called Amplify. If you go to upfitness.com, go up into the search bar and go to search Amplify. That will come up with our powdered BCAs. We have a couple of flavors. Absolutely amazing. It's got loads of added leucine and glutamine. Leucine being the most useful amino acid for essentially building muscle and burning fat very, very fast. It actually helps to block fat storage. It's very, very useful. So go over there, Amplify in the search bar of upfitness.com. It will take you straight to our own product. You're welcome. No problem, loves fashion. Only 9.5 stone, but so much body fat, mainly on the belly, armpit fat, bingo wings, just can't shift me, even though I've been weight training for about 6 weeks and nights. Tracy, there is no best exercise to lose fat. Best exercise is diet. If you have made no progress whatsoever with that, then I would put it to you that your diet has probably not been changed, has it? Or if it has, it hasn't been changed enough. You mentioned before about your younger self. How did your fitness journey begin? Did you have a PT? No, Christine, personally, so I was actually just talking to Jane about it a minute ago. I was kind of the fat, funny kid. I certainly wasn't popular with girls. I was the brother that used to, the quote-unquote brother that used to kind of, sort out problems. I used to sort out problems with my mates. I used to sort out problems with the girls and blah, 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 blah. But I was kind of funny. I was a bit of a joker, etc. Then I got to about, 16, 17, 18, and started to realise I didn't really want to be fat my whole life because, I was missing out on a lot of stuff that all my friends were doing and this, that and the other, obvious stuff, right? Teenage boy. And then decided I wanted to lose fat. So I just started to do a bit of reading. I started to act on that reading. I started to exercise. Realistically, if I'm being honest, and it has had a knock-on effect. Now, I really struggle to keep body fat off. It's a real problem. It's an uphill battle for me that I fight with constantly. But I basically just started tidying up my diet, I did a mixture of weight training and cardio, hit it really, really hard, dropped down to actually, you know, from well into triple figures. I dropped down to about 69 kilos. So I was quite small, and then became a PT, and then just gradually built up through there. 3 years in my career was in a Fitness First in Brighton, which I love it dearly. You know, I've got a lot of fond memories there, a lot of fond friends there, and clients, of course. And then I came to UP when I was 23. 23 years old, I came to UP. Nick asked me to come and work at the Mayfair UP. And then everything kind of changed for me from there. And I'm now 30 years old. I've been to all, you know, travelled the world with UP. I'm very, very lucky. I travelled the world with UP. I've been mentored by Nick Mitchell, you know, best trainer in the world. And in my opinion, one of the best humans in the world. For many, many reasons, many of which a lot of you probably will never see. But yeah, I'm a very lucky boy for it. Very lucky boy. Going to see an orthopaedist about hamstring strain, not too serious. I think just wondering if you have an experience with such a thing. I know you're not a physio, but have you got any tips on how to get back quicker? Depends on what it was. You know, why is it strained? Is it an imbalance through your hip? Often stuff like this is because your hip's out of line. You know, you're going to have one leg stronger than the other. You know, you're going to have uneven glutes, uneven flexibility. Your physio or someone who's going to be able to assess you. I can't physically, if I could stand here and assess you and see where your hips were, what everything was doing, then I could probably tell you exactly what to do and exactly how to fix it really, really quickly. But without that, it's very, very difficult. What I would say, again, as I mentioned, water, tons and tons of water, massage and food. Make sure you're not eating inflammatory foods. This is one thing that when all of you are injured, you know, it's very easy to slip off your diet and start eating, oh, fuck it, you know, I can't train, so I'm going to eat a bit of shit food. I'm going to do this because it makes me feel better. I don't care. I'll get back on it. The thing is with that shit food, it's inflammatory food. That stops you from getting better as fast as you ordinarily would have. So best things to do to get better, stay hydrated, rest as much as you need to rest to get it right. Don't rush back into training too hard on the other side of it, and drink loads and loads of water. Do you have any advice on counting macros? My advice on counting macros, Beck, I think it can be very, very useful if you're that way inclined. Now, I said a while ago, you know, it's becoming a nice little quote, you know, maybe it's going to be on my gravestone. The best program in the world is only as good as the delivery, okay? Now, some people are excellent at following macros, and they need those numbers. They need that, that specificity. However, some people initially can follow those macros and they can do these things and they need that specificity, but they become so unhealthily obsessed with those numbers, which are pretty much irrelevant, that it becomes very, very damaging in the long term. Now, what you have to try and balance out is, can you let go of those numbers and see them for what they are? 99% of people can't, so I tend not to be too... I don't forcefully push macros. What I may do, if I think you are relatively mentally stable, obviously I do my own subjective assessments on that. If I think you're relatively mentally stable and you can take the macros, then I will give you macros to get you where you need to go if you're able to follow them, etc., etc., etc. I will get you as lean as I need to and then say, right, stop counting macros, but use the knowledge that you have learned, because that's what macros are great for, is understanding what's in your food. What does your food contain? What food groups are there? What food falls into what food groups? It's a good education, but it's an education that should eventually fade itself out to you understanding just how to make good choices. Obviously, that may come for a lot of you when you get lean or when you get to whatever goal it is you've set yourself. But macro counting can be very, very useful, but you need to understand that it is not healthy to get anally attached to these sorts of things. This is why in the live UP programs, the fat loss programs, both male and the female specific fat loss programs, I don't ask them to count macros. What I do is I say, right, these are your food groups. That's the quantity you need in each meal. Okay, everything is outlined to within an inch of its life, but there is no macros, because especially, you know, this may be a bit of a generalization, but in my experience over the last, 11, 12 years, females are especially damaged by tracking their food too accurately. What tends to happen is, you come from one eating disorder, whether that be being overweight and eating too much, or being underweight, bulimic, anorexic, and being anal about your food there, is you just come into the fitness industry and you do exactly the same thing. You become obsessed with food. So macros have their uses, but should they be held on to long term? Not necessarily. Right, I've got less than 2 minutes left, guys, before they're going to kick me off. So I'm going to go quick fire answers now. No more detail. Would you recommend doing weights 45 minutes cardio and 10,000 steps a day on the same day? Depends on your goal. Maybe not. 10,000 steps a day is just you not being a lazy bastard. So I've got absolutely no issue with that. Weights, 45 minutes cardio. I wouldn't necessarily add the cardio in there. But again, depends how you do it. You know, if you're talking about going in and doing 45 minutes on a cross trainer and 10,000 steps, depends. Does that, in all honesty, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it depends on what you're doing the rest of the week. You know, it's about the week, not about the day. I've changed my diet loads, then I'm always starving. But then you're probably eating too little to lose any body fat. Hey, Sana, how you doing? So I end up pigging out on shit. So eat a bit more clean food and you won't pig out on shit, Tracy. Does GI matter? Yes, potentially, but you know, it's not always about going low GI. High GI can have its times. It is very useful at times and should be used. I've recently started doing the Les Mills body program, body attack, body pump. You're just lifting a little boring. What are your thoughts on these classes? Would they build lean muscle? Mike Flash, you may have a very immediate bit of adaptation. They may do you some good very immediately, but long term, no, not really. Secondly, they're probably going to drop your testosterone massively over the long term because they overtrain, and the impact is also likely to cause you a bit of problem. There's no specificity or balance in it either. Absolutely loving these live videos. Wednesday, so informative. No problem, Elaine. I'll see you next Wednesday. Great on macros. You're welcome. Cheers for sharing your knowledge. You're welcome. We've got 18 seconds. Does UP hire trainers on a part-time? No, Armand. Only full-time. We want full commitment from you because we want our trainers to give full commitment to our clients. Does licorice root gel really work on the belly to help with spot reduction? Potentially, yes, because it can have a good effect on helping your body with cortisol. This is me out. I am gone. Goodbye.